All right. So
We're
I'm here
set.
with Melissa Ford.
That's it.
Thank you very much, Melissa. So Melissa, I'll just give a very quick introduction of what I know, right?
Sounds good.
Well, Steve talks highly about you. You know, I read your story in this book, When All Boats Rise. Highly recommend this to everyone watching. Um, I personally really resonate with that. You know, I saw some of the stuff you put out on Facebook
Mhm.
about, niching and, the stuff you talk about when it comes to service. And what I personally really love is basically how you really, walk your talk. Because we have a lot of, especially in the UK, I'm not sure how it is in America, but in the UK, we have 99 coaches that are constantly talking about making six figures in 6 weeks,
Mhm.
building your business in an instant without hard work. And it's all about, it's the opposite of what we do.
Mhm.
So when I personally went to ACS, it was like finding home, right? Because in the UK, I'm probably one of the part of this group of minority that are doing this. But yeah, so it would be nice maybe if you can give a short introduction, and then
Sure.
we can continue the conversation that we had before.
Okay. So a little bit about me is what you're wanting,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Well, um, I want to say, so I've been coaching for a very long time, but I wasn't a professional coach until 10 years ago when I finally made the decision that I was going to go pro as a coach. And at that point, I hired a coach. I hired Steve Chandler, who's my coach. And I began this journey of attempting to create clients, but I was highly unsuccessful. And I had heard about service and I didn't like the word. I didn't want to serve. I just wanted to have a lot of clients and make a lot of money. So I was the opposite of you, Siawash, completely opposite. And but I had hired somebody, I had invested an entire year of my life with this person who kept insisting on service. So I had to make it work in some way. And I was really the reluctant service warrior. I just didn't want to do it. And I wanted to be, just like what you said, I wanted to be the people who in 90 days could break six figures, could make, I just wanted to do that. So it took me a while to learn what you've learned in a very short period of time. I had to learn to slow down. I had to learn that it wasn't about me. I had to learn that people weren't going to hire me, no matter how impressive I might attempt to look or act like or convey to them. And that what really made the difference was if I would focus on helping them and then continue to get better and better at client enrollment and better as a coach.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a short little piece about my journey. But so what I do now is I'm a business and life coach. Like you, I work with coaches, I work with entrepreneurs, I work with people in any kind of business really, but I enjoy people who are creating their own thing. And then work with people in their lives, because even if you've got a great business, if life isn't going well, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that. And
You're welcome.
that's really cool because, you know, you, I often talk about this 10-year thing to my clients because we
Mm-hmm.
often have this mindset of like instant gratification. And I always tell my clients, like, imagine where you can be in 10 years if you really focus on getting good. So I'm, really grateful to have someone in front of me that's actually been doing this professionally 10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yep. It's that idea, the 20-year overnight success. We see
Yeah.
the end result and wow, these people look very relaxed and they're powerful and they can, set whatever fee they want, but we don't see what went in to their own development. And
Yeah.
So.
All right. Awesome. So I just want to touch on something that you mentioned just at the end of your introduction, right?
Mm-hmm.
About living a good life.
Yeah.
And we briefly had a conversation about that just before we started the recording.
Mm-hmm.
How important do you think that really is about leading a good life as a coach?
Oh gosh. Well, again, I didn't realize leading a good life was important. I was so focused on creating my business. So I was happy to take my personal life and just push it over here and then focus on this business. And I did that for a while. And my coach every once in a while would say to me, hey, do you want to talk about your relationship? Oh, do you want to talk about this? I'd be like, no. And he was cool with it. He just said, okay. And we kept focusing in on my business. And then at one point, he said to me, Melissa, when your personal life goes well, your business life will improve. Your professional life will get better and better. So at that point, I was open to it. I was far enough along in my business that I was open to even looking. And my gosh, it's so true. When your personal life gets better, not only do you feel better in your own life and you bring, a happier individual to your business, but the other thing that happens is that you can help somebody with their own personal life. And I love the idea that you and I, and anybody listening to this, we can't ask anybody to do that we coach that we haven't been willing to do ourselves. So the fact that I keep getting coached, the fact that I keep being honest and open and willing, the fact that I keep looking and seeing what else, and that's huge, because now I can bring all of that to my clients and they can see that I do live what I say, that idea of taking your own medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got one life, so let's live it, right? Let's do it right.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think it would be very interesting to maybe hear, because I got what you said, like you didn't realize that in the beginning, right?
Right.
And it's quite funny actually that, because I had a similar story that, well, it's a bit different, right? My first coach was someone that was all about, let's make a lot of money quickly, right? And it was all about, like selling within 45 minutes, 30 minutes. And from the first moment, it just didn't resonate with me, right? And I really believe in the power of intention, that when we really set an intention, I believe universe, God, whatever we believe in, will bring it towards us, right? But with yourself, it was quite funny. So you wanted actually the fast way. But
yeah,
then
I wanted your coach.
You hire someone like Steve.
Yeah, I guess the universe had my back, right? Yeah. Yeah, I would have wanted your coach because he was always trying to get me to slow down. And I wanted to make it clear to him, I didn't want to slow down. I needed to speed up. Yeah. I needed to get where I was going to get quicker. Let's get there. But he would constantly slow me down. And he would say, so how can you help someone? Or what do you think would really make a difference here? Or what else can you do? Or what do you see? Or what have you asked them? He would constantly slow me down. And inside I was just revved up, wanting to just go, come on. I don't want to look at that. But yeah, so the slowing down piece, actually, once I started to see the power in it, I realized I was much more present. I was much more focused. I listened better. I could get more done being slower if I was looking at getting more done. But I just had a better connection with someone because I was there with them, rather than racing ahead to, oh, what else could I say? And I wonder if they're going to work with me. And gosh, are they going to balk at this fee? And oh, do I offer them another conversation? If I could just slow down, then I'd be set.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Well, like right? I didn't, and I do this intentionally. Like I don't necessarily prepare questions for these interviews or for these conversations. because I think what's really useful is what comes up in the moment, right? For myself, I see it more like a conversation. And what's coming up for me, right, is, and this is something that I struggled with in the beginning. And I know a lot of coaches that get introduced into this philosophy of the prosperous coach. It almost like looks too simple, right? Like just connect with people and then invite them and then coach them, right? So what really helped you to become good at that process of enrolling clients?
Yeah, practice, 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 and more practice. There was a period when I first got on this service path where I was really uncomfortable. And this is classic for all coaches. I didn't know who to talk to. Oh, I couldn't offer a coaching session to this person. They turned me down. Or, oh, I can't coach people inside corporate. I don't have a corporate background. I had that going for a very long time. But it was the, who do I talk to? Who do I offer a coaching conversation to? And every coach I've ever worked with, any of my colleagues, the bottom line is we all go through that. And sometimes we'll go through it and we'll move past it and then we'll come back to it again. Who do I talk to? I don't know who to talk to. So that was the beginning. And then after a while, it got easier for me to offer a conversation to anybody. And when I went out in the world, this was super helpful. When I went out in the world, instead of looking for my ideal client or who out there might be a coachable person or who's got money to hire a coach, I just started going out and listening for people who had problems. So I had the ear for listening. I would just go and I'd hear somebody, and everybody's got a problem. And if they don't have a problem, they've got something that they want to create. But I would just listen and I would hear. And then I would, I might come back and send somebody an email or, text somebody. I know that you were concerned about your daughter. Would you like to talk? I help people all the time with parenting concerns. If you'd like to do that, let's schedule a time. So I got good at offering conversations. Then that was easy. Then the next piece was, so how do I stay in the lead in that conversation and listen? And then I got good at just continuing to move it along. And some people were ready and they would say yes. And other people weren't ready. And that was okay. Initially, it wasn't okay with me. I wanted them to be ready. And then I got good with, it's okay, they're not ready. So for instance, right now, this week, I have conversations with 3 people that I offered conversations to and coached for 1 or 2 sessions in 2016.
Wow.
2016, 3 people. And I look at that and I go, yeah, they weren't ready. Well, they're back. It's the same thing that they're stuck on. It's okay. I know they've made some progress. Something's occurred. But so I just got better and better at it, and I kept practicing it. That's all I can say. You just got to put the time into it, and the more you do it, it's like anything, the easier it gets. And by the way, I want people to know, I wasn't relaxed initially doing any of this. I was kind of freaked out sometimes. I remember I'd stammer. One time I remember saying my fee and I added an extra 0. I mean, come on, so it was not pretty. It was kind of an ugly thing, but I kept going.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, right? So just be willing to make mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be willing to do it. And then the big thing too, this is where the personal coaching comes in. You have to be willing to cut yourself some slack. Because I used to heap a lot of self-judgment. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. What's wrong with me? These people are going to, they're going to run away. So to get good at being able to not get the result you want, which we can call making a mistake or failing, not get the result, go back to your own coach or a colleague or a peer or whatever, run some game film and then go do something different and see what changes.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps. It's practice.
No, it definitely resonates for me, and I know it will with others as well. And guys, if you're watching the replay, make sure, type any questions you have. I'm gonna add Melissa to the group,
Yeah,
and she'll be able
happy
to
to.
see it. Um, yeah, and this concept of game film. I mean, I was doing this with my previous coach, and I'm doing this now with Ankush as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's brilliant. And the funny thing is,
Mm-hmm.
when I started coaching, I was thinking, and you probably get this a lot, right? I was thinking, you know what, I'm this new coach. I need to learn this new profession. But then my second coach really slowed me down and said, hey, let's talk about your poker days.
Mm.
Like, what made you so successful there? And we started looking at those things, and we looked at how we can bring it into the coaching. Because this is what I did in poker. I used to play 6-7 hours a day. And then I used to put every single day around 2 hours, I would review my work, and I would go over the important hands.
Mm.
And that's how I see with coaching. I think coaches really don't do it enough. Like even myself, probably I can probably put my hand up because I do game for with my coach,
Mm-hmm.
but I can see how useful it would be to just even sit down every day to do it, for example, for 20-30 minutes. Just go over a few sessions.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. It's great. I mean, what you did when you were playing poker, that's brilliant because that's exactly what this is.
Mm.
I'm not going to learn if I'm not willing to go back and look with a non-judgmental eye. So one thing that I would do is I would have this is the beautiful thing. This is why you want to keep having conversations because it gives you feedback in real time.
Mm.
So I want feedback in real time so I can keep learning. And then what I would do is after a session, I would go and I would on my own run game film, just like what you're talking about. And then I would take notes. And when my coaching session came up with my own coach, I would say, okay, let me explain the situation and let me tell you what my game film was. And the cool thing would be then he would tell me what he saw, which I didn't see. And then I could actually get better at running my own game film.
I love that.
Yeah, it was perfect. And I so appreciated any input he had because, of course, he's going to have a perspective I'm not going to have, which, boy, bring it on. Anything you can share with me that I can't see, let's do it. I want to hear it.
Mm. I'm going to use that concept. That's really good. Yeah. Okay. So I want to go back to something you said earlier, right? Because I know you talked about this in the book as well about, growing your business through service,
Mm-hmm.
right? And here's something that I struggled with in the beginning. And I know I still probably do sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's got much better. And I know a lot of coaches that are starting out or early in their journey, they will have this mindset of like, okay, instead of doing these 45-minute sessions, I'm going to do these long sessions, and that's how I'm going to sell, right? So it's more like service is selling. But when I was reading the book, I'm not sure if it's your part or someone else, but I was like, what is service really? And for me, it changed. There's a light bulb moment because I was like, you know what? I'm going in with the mindset of like, okay, this is how I sell effectively.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment I kind of let go of that and became a bit more unattached to the outcome, that's what really created a shift. Can you talk a little bit about that? How that maybe also changed for you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, anybody who's on this service path, serving as a way to sell, again, most people start off using service as a tool. So service is going to be the thing that I now do to create clients. It'll be a tool. It'll be a strategy. It's a process. It's a way to manipulate. So what I'll be able to do is serve in order to get a client. That's the idea. So it's service, wink, wink, but it's sales. And again, really what's going on is I'm attached to getting something, which is super normal. We all do that. So it's like, oh, okay, so if I want a client, then I serve and then I can get a client. What you'll do is if you keep doing that, you'll notice you don't get any clients. You'll also notice that you're incredibly uptight, frustrated, irritated, pissed off, wondering what's wrong with you, wondering why people are so cheap. I mean, you'll have all this kind of thing going on. And at some point, you'll start to realize, oh, I've got let go of my grip on getting a client. I have to let go of that. And that's the last thing you want to do, because you want a business badly. You want to be able to do this. But as you start to loosen your grip and you start to say to yourself, okay, the only thing anybody cares about, the person across the table from me or the screen or on the phone, the only thing they care about is whether and how I can help them. That's it. It's all they care about. They don't care about becoming my client. They don't care about hiring me. They care about if I can help. So when I keep that in mind, and that's my focus, I can't keep my focus on getting a client and if I can help them at the same time. So if I keep my focus on that, now what I can do is I can pour my heart and my soul and my mind and my effort and my attention into helping. Because the only reason someone's going to hire you or hire me or hire anybody who's listening to this is if there is some shift in their life. They're not going to hire you because, again, you're impressive or you've got great credentials or they really like you or you sound smart. It's because they start to see, wow, life is different here. And that's when they're going to hire you. Now that's service. And everybody starts out with what is service. I'm now writing a book and I've got so many working names for it. I can't tell you. It's the service path. It's I don't have a name yet for it, but what I'm doing in that book is one of the chapters is on what the hell is service, because there's so much confusion around it. So everybody starts with it as a tool, and eventually it becomes something that you become. It's a way of being, it's a way of living, and that takes time. It takes time, but you got to give yourself the experience of letting go of the grip to truly serve. And for me, I've never created a client in one session.
Yeah.
I used to think if I was really good at this, half an hour, that was it. But it's a couple of conversations. Sometimes if I really like the person and I'm having fun with it, maybe it's 3. It's not 1. I don't create a client in one conversation. Not yet. And it's been 10 years. I did have where I gave somebody a couple of sessions, and the third one in, she said to me, well, I want to work with you. And by the way, I would have hired you after the first one. And I remember being so upset by that. I go back to my coach. I'm like, what's up with that? I mean, how come I didn't see that? And he said, Melissa, so you coached her 2 more times. So what? You served her.
Yeah. So, I think that's very helpful. Thank you. And I was just making some notes because I forgot my iPad in the bag. But to be honest, I'm gonna just be present and then watch this again because it's really good.
Good.
And I think that's really it. It's just probably, and I guess we often will just fall into it, and then we have to catch ourselves coming back to it.
Yeah, you mean fall into wanting a client?
Yeah, because I became really good at this, at some point where I just became unattached. But then, I don't know what happened. Like my calendar really filled up, right? And it's quite funny because this is around the time I met Ankush. I was making very good money, but my calendar was full with some really awesome people. And I was just serving them. And then I came into a session with Ankush. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, it's just not working anymore.
I know. Yeah.
And I'm like,
magic is gone.
The session is so amazing. But then at the end, it's just like, oh, this and that. And he just really called me out on it. And I was like, okay, and that's why we play this fun game together right now where I'm not allowed to make a proposal. And I love it because I just have to serve powerfully and then just create space where the client says, hey, how can I work with you?
Right.
and it just helped me to just remove it completely.
Right.
And I love playing games, right? It's quite uncomfortable initially because I was like, well, I need to be proactive. I need to just say something, but it's so much fun.
It is. It is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys are playing games and you're turning this into, I mean, that's how we learn. We learn, and why not make it fun? And I want to say, again, if anybody's hearing this and they're thinking, that's crazy, I don't want to make it fun, I don't want to play a game. I was one of those people. I just wanted, I was very serious, I was very focused, I just wanted to make it work. But it's going to take whatever time it's going to take. I think you posted something on Facebook recently, Siawash, where you was something that Steve Chandler had written about taking time.
Yeah.
Didn't you? And I saw that, I went, whoa, that's, again, you know what's up. I mean, I didn't want to take time, but it's going to take whatever time it takes. So to relax and to turn it into a game so that learning's easier. That's really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and my wife is a testimony to that, because when I started coaching, I was super serious. I would be the guy that wouldn't often, I had that poker face. I wouldn't often smile, wouldn't really show emotions. I would never come into a conversation in an interview like this. But then I got this shirt actually from Phoenix, so you can see it's a Phoenix.
Oh yes, very nice.
And I love it because it's actually a great message. For me, it's about constantly reinventing myself, because the Phoenix, it burns to ashes and then it rises again, right? So I'm part of this Brian Johnson program as well, and Brian always asks, like, how can you become like a Phoenix? How can you just burn and then rise again and reinvent yourself? And I love that. So for me, it's just about making it more fun, because my wife is just looking at me, it's like, are you gonna go like that? You're not gonna put your shirt on? You want me
well, look at me.
You want me to iron a shirt? I was like, no, this is actually cool.
Well, at least you've got somebody in the background, like a stylist or somebody who's really paying attention, because you've got to be professional to a degree.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and that made also a big difference in terms of really, and that's for me what Steve has done for me, is really bring that professionalism into my work.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Steve has a lot of fun. He brings a lot of fun into the work, but at the same time, he sees it as any other profession. And I think that's been very helpful. That's something that, I really talk a lot about to my clients, and we always look at ways where we can raise our standard as a profession, because, Rich and Steve mentions in the book, it's a very low entry, right? Anyone can come in and say, hey, I'm a coach. And it's what we do. I'm not sure if you saw my Facebook, but I, together with another coach, I started this company. It's called the Muslim Coaching Academy. And for us, it was like, we were thinking about what do we want with this company? Because there's a lot of companies that just focus on helping coaches make money, right? And then you have a lot of companies. You have a lot of companies that, for example, do coaching courses. I've attended some of them, right? And there's some really good courses for example, in London, you pay 5,000 for a course like that, but they don't teach you anything about business. So you have all these coaches per month. They have around 50 people graduate from that course.
Wow.
Right. And actually, when I went there, I didn't go there with the intention to create clients, but I got quite a lot of clients out of there because they have no clue what to do. Right. And then on this other side, we have all these companies that focus on just let's help you make money. So we created kind of like a hybrid model.
Oh, nice.
Where we said, you know what, we're going to help people actually become really good at coaching, and then really good at creating clients. And that's what also really pulls me to, to speak to people that have really walked the talk, to work with people like Steve. So that's why this is really useful.
Good. Well, I like what you're doing. I mean, because there really are the two parts. There's the how do you coach, and then how do you make money as a coach. And then of course we're talking about your personal life
Yeah.
being great, your personal life getting better and better, and your relationships improving. So if you look at the two pieces of the coaching, for me, honestly, the biggest improvement in being a coach and making money as a coach was my own willingness to be coached and to coach. To constantly be coached and to coach. And one thing that really helped me a lot with getting coached was the acronym HOW, honest, open, and willing. And that was something that I learned that it really was a turning point in my own life where, was I being honest with myself? Was I being honest with my coach? Because there were some times where I really didn't want to be honest because I didn't want him to know that I didn't know, or we're talking about the same old tired topic that I didn't understand. And here we are once again talking about, who do I ask into a coaching conversation? So the honesty part, the openness part, was I open to a new idea that didn't mesh with my current worldview? Was I open to that? And as that became easier for me to do, my own learning just kicked up a notch. And then the willingness, was I willing? Was I willing to go out and offer somebody a conversation and have them tell me no? Was I willing to offer it to somebody that maybe I thought wouldn't say yes, and they did? So all those things made a huge difference in my ability to become better and better as a coach and my own life get better. So I really like what you're doing. It's so necessary, because I think so many people think, well, if I just know how to coach, that's easy. Then I'll just go out and I'll be able to hang up my shingle and I'll be able to make money. And a lot of people get frustrated because that's not how it works. And then they get into the 90-day programs, or the, I'm going to build my social media platform, and then people are going to come to me in droves and I'll be amazing and make money. And, it's a real illusion. They don't realize the work that needs to be put into it, just like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing is, I've fallen into that illusion again and again. And that's why I can really relate to what coaches go through. I've bought those expensive courses on branding, on how to use social media. And some of it has been useful.
Yeah.
But it's just using it in the context of serving.
That's it.
Not just of like, oh, I need to be, like my first coach is like this. You want to be successful, you need to post 5 times a day, go Facebook Live every day. Right? It was just like, it's all about being in their face.
Yeah.
But then I realized about how I can slow down to that and actually serve people from a place of posting, or from a place of like, do the marketing, but from a place of service.
Yeah.
And that made a big difference. So I really made a lot of mistakes there. Was buying a lot of courses to get those quick fixes. And I guess it was a good experience. We have to make the mistakes to understand what's really happening as well.
That's it. Because somebody can tell me, but I may not believe it. I don't know what the result's going to be. So if I follow the thing that feels like the thing to go do, I'm going to learn something from it. But you're absolutely right, is that if you don't have service solid in you, if it's not your base, as you're branding, as you're posting, as you're doing all these things, everybody's going to know all you're up to is trying to get a client. And no one's going to pay attention. No one's going to want to talk to you, because again, what do they want? They want to know whether and how you can help them. So if you're the guy or the woman who's trying to get the client, they're just going to head in another direction. Yeah. So I know we've got a little bit, our time's probably coming to an end, but one more thing I just wanted to say is that, when I'm working with a client and they're trying to build a business, and again, it just doesn't have to be a coach, I'll throw the word service around, or professionalism. And like you, I like to slow down and ask somebody, what does service mean to you? What does professionalism mean to you? So, because what I've come to discover is that we're usually operating with two very different definitions. And that's fine, but let's find out, where are you at? What does it mean to serve? And then once you figure out what that is, it might be, how can I help? Or how can I make a difference? Or how can I help your life be better? Whatever your definition of service is. And then be open to the fact that that's going to continue to change. Your definition is going to continue to open and expand and evolve as you get a deeper and deeper understanding of what service means to you. And that's the beauty of it. It's this live, it's live. It's not a static thing. So to be open to that, and then also what professionalism means. Because I used to think professionalism was just kind of serious, intense, like you said, no laughter, very focused. And it's different now. It's really the truer version of who I am. But yeah, there's this idea that we're going to get together and we're going to do it in a professional capacity. Yeah. So just to get a clear idea of what those things mean to you, and find out what they mean to your peers and your colleagues, because they might know something you don't know.
Yeah, that's very useful. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's a great question, actually, to give it to the listener. Maybe type in the comments, what does it mean for you? What does service mean to you? Mm-hmm. And what does professionalism mean to you?
Yeah.
And as a group, I also have this little book club, and we read together The War of Art. That really helped me to see that. So Stephen Pressfield's books have been very useful.
He's great. Have you ever read Mastery by George Leonard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Great book, yeah. Yeah, and again, it's completely like these books are very the opposite of what's happening out there. Of what most people are teaching. And this is the thing. I guess it's not for me to be judgmental, but there is a space obviously where there are successful marketers or coaches out there who focus on very different things. And on this side, you have people like yourself, like Steve, like Rich, who really come from a place of like mastery, getting really good at what you do, and then serving clients. Mm-hmm. And I'm aware of the time, so just a very quick thing maybe to because I get it, like a lot of times, well, this is something that I get from people, like, okay, you know what, I can do this maybe at 1K, 2K, and I get it, people like Steve, they can do it at the higher rates. But how did that occur to you when you kept raising your prices?
Well, for a while I didn't raise my prices. So one thing that I want to say is, we talk about being prosperous coaches. You want to be a working coach first, which means that you want to offer conversations continually because you're your own sales department. I used to think, if I get really good at service, and what I'll do is I'll have a number of conversations, I'll get clients, and then I'll be good to go. People will just start coming in. Well, they don't. So I'm my own sales department. I'm my own service department. So I have to be open 24/7, 365 days out of the year. Now, of course, I'm not open that much anymore, but I gotta be in the game of continuing to have conversations. So keep doing that and then get paid, because it's a heck of a lot easier to raise your fees when you're paid. It's just easier, because otherwise what you're doing is you're holding out and you're not making any money. And then you start getting negative thinking and you wonder, why the heck am I doing this? Maybe I should just go back to my old job. This is crazy. And then everybody around you might be telling you it's crazy because you're not making money. So be a working coach first. Do that. And then as you go along, just to protect your calendar, because you're going to have more and more people who say yes to you, you'll be able to raise your fee. And really, honestly, how your fee goes up is that because you keep getting coached, you keep growing, you keep deepening what service means to you, you keep getting better as a coach and really understanding what it means to be a professional coach. Inside you, you'll feel more and more solid, and you'll know what fee to charge. And then you'll say that fee and you'll say it with confidence and ease because you know the value you deliver. And that just takes time. So get paid first and don't worry about what anybody else is charging. Say a fee that if somebody says yes to it, you'd be happy to work with them. If they say no, you're happy not to work with them. You know, instead of thinking, oh, geez, I should have lowered it or I should have raised it. Or, boy, if I was really good, I'd be charging what Siawash is charging or Melissa. No. Start where you're at. Start getting paid.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great distinction. Because often we think about how do I become prosperous? But start as a working coach. Really make the hours.
That's
and
it.
as a result of your calendar, raise your pie.
That's it. That's it. And in fact, I've got something that I wrote on the difference between a working coach and a prosperous coach. And if you want it, I'll send it to you and you can post it in your group.
Yeah, please do share. Please
Yeah.
share that.
Yeah.
All right. Super grateful for having you here. And I just want to love to continue this conversation. And all right, so let's do this. I mean, I'm very confident we're gonna get questions, so I'm gonna add you later to the group, and
Sounds
we can
good.
speak about that. So people obviously can find you on Facebook. Is there any other way they can connect with you?
Yep, they can go to my website. It's melissafordcoaching.com, and they can reach me there. But also, too, like you said, throw any question up on your Facebook page, and I'll do my best to answer it. And I really appreciate talking to you about this. I'm really glad you're out there doing this because it matters to me that coaches who want to get good at this and be prosperous and have this as their profession, they find a way to do it that is sustainable and that feeds them. And I'm not just saying feed you, meaning you're making money and you can eat, but you feel good. You feel useful and purposeful. And doing it with service, it's really the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. What you've shared is super valuable, really. I made some notes I couldn't resist, but I'm going to watch this again, and I think it's been very useful. All right, I'm just gonna stop the recording here. So guys, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments, and also share with us what your takeaway is from this conversation. All right.
Okay.
Let's